Hey guys, Cody from Samurai Trading Academy here with my recap for Friday, July the 15th of my Emini S&P 500 futures trading. Turned out to be a really good day, really good end to the week. Wish they could all kind of be like this. Everything sort of worked out as planned, and that doesn't happen very often. If you look at other recaps I've posted, results and things, there's the days that really stand out, like these types of days, but there's some where there's a little bit of a struggle and you can get chopped around a little bit, and just where even if you're taking good trades, things don't always kind of play out the way that you might expect them to, the way you might hope them to. But sometimes everything kind of goes to plan and everything reaches the targets and is very structured and defined, and you can really make quite a bit of profit in that sort of environment. So started a little bit late as usual on Fridays, often sleep in a little bit, and so started at 10:30 but kept going till 1 o'clock, 1 p.m., which is basically as long as I go. But the reason why is because we were breaking so nicely. And you can see here, as things got going at the market open, this would be that 9:30 Eastern Standard Time here. Wasn't trading this, but we did have a pretty good push down. Probably would have had a trade or two in this stuff if I'd been trading and then that news, but it was fairly choppy as we led into the news, and right after that came out, and then we ran into this area here, which was a pretty clear one, pretty well established, and tested that a number of times. But once we pushed off of that, I was looking for potentially a move back up into this area, especially that we are in a little bit of a bullish market overall. So usually path of least resistance is going to be to the upside. So I was willing to latch onto something here that was a little bit slower than I would have liked, but just very structurally appealing, and with the kind of the context, the way this level was responding, something that I was willing to trade off of. And the only mistake I might have made here was probably holding it a little bit too long, because the momentum was really quite limited. We weren't getting much follow through. I probably could have taken a point of profit here rather than taking the loss. But there was also, you could see in here, a little bit of a trend line that would have been coming through and still reacting here. So even as things were coming and testing into here, I still was kind of optimistic that we might at least push up into this area. I could take a couple points of profit, and didn't work out that way. It took the loss, but I'm not too worried about that. You might be curious why it's not a break even, because a lot of people with that many bars and that much time would move to break even. It's just something that I'm not a big fan of break even trading myself. I find that it puts me in a bit of a mindset that is kind of focused on not losing and that fear of taking a loss, and that's why I moved to break even. So I very, very rarely ever will go to break even. I find that it just doesn't really improve my edge, improve my profitability, and it's largely a psychological thing. So just one of those kind of little lessons I've learned over the years in terms of the way that I kind of think, and how my sort of mental approach to the markets can affect my performance. So once that failed, though, I actually didn't mind seeing it fail, because it failed so aggressively here and with so much momentum that kind of made me excited for the possibilities to the downside. Because when you see that sort of failure that's really aggressive in that way, it opens up a lot of possibilities in terms of what can happen. So we actually had a really good momentum breakout in here, which is a more advanced setup that I use, a little bit more contextual, but really clear level here with a lot of momentum. So it was a nice one to trade once we got a little bit of confirmation in there. That's the only difference we really need, is just a little bit of extra confirmation in those sort of situations to trade them effectively. But caught that one, just took it down for a couple points. Could have maybe been a little bit more aggressive with that, but whenever I get in when the market's already a little bit extended, which it's going to be when it gets an aggressive move like this, and it continues to kind of run to the downside without much of a pullback, I'm not going to get too greedy, because I know that at any point it can kind of snap back, because as you get more overextended like that, it does lead to those deeper pullbacks at times. So I'm happy to take a little bit of a smaller profit when I'm getting into those more aggressive entry positions. And then from here, it was just structural trading really, and trading off a level that was formed in here. Could have got in here a little bit later. But I was willing to hold this for a little bit, because saw the potential again with this high momentum move here. These sort of big swings are the sort of thing I like to put Fibonacci extensions on. I think a lot of people are too aggressive about using fib extensions, and they're willing to put them on every little move, and they get a huge amount of overlap with them, and they're kind of all over their charts. And then, of course, as soon as price hits one of them and there's potential profit to be taken, they say that, oh, look at how well they worked. Of course, they worked great when you've got dozens of them on your charts. Of course, you can find one that works, but I tend to be a lot more selective with things, a lot more kind of simple in my approach and streamlined, I suppose. So unless I get a really nice big move like this, I'm not really using them. But I had a nice swing and got the pullback in here and had that pre-market lows coming in at that 61.8 extension. So really good area to target, and was happy just to take the profit just before that area. I always take the profit a little bit before those extensions and consider them reached. And then saw the opportunity here to maybe reach into Tuesday's highs, because we had tested into this in the pre-market, but so much momentum here, opportunity to go a little bit further, and this was the next major zone, which also lined up with the 100% extension of this initial move here. So a lot of things, a lot of confluence kind of coming together, different things coming together to kind of support that trade. And so I was willing to kind of hang on here as it was testing into this area and let things go. You would notice as well that I took this trade. If I'd gone to break even, I actually would have gotten taken out there. So kind of another reason why I don't really like the break even. I'd rather keep my stop protected behind levels rather than just moving to break even, just because things aren't really following through. So just kind of doing things in a more structural way. But worked out really nicely, ran down into that Tuesday's highs and held them pretty cleanly. So ended up getting a really solid 4 points there. So like I said at the beginning of this, I mean, I wish every day was kind of this clear, this sort of smooth in terms of the action, in terms of the movements, and everything was this reactive where you would expect price to react. But it doesn't always work that way. But it's nice when you have these days that come along and everything is just pretty clear and straightforward. So hopefully you guys did really well trading this stuff as well and bagged some good profits to end the week. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in some recaps next week.